I've worked on this for a dozen years.
Are you worried about the president's travails, though, that they get in the way of the things that you want to do, or they blind people to the things you are doing and the president's doing?
I do worry about it because I don't think it's good for the country. I mean, I think focusing on how to ensure we have a tax bill that actually helps improve wages, which is what's happening, by the way. How do you have a health care cost situation that's under control?
Those are all substantive real issues.
Those are the real issues.
There are a lot of people that say
distracted.
that the president, though, given his frustration with where this investigation is going, might be tempted to fire Bob Mueller, might be tempted to fire Rod Rosenstein. Are you among those of your colleagues who urge protecting Mueller, to etch it in legislative stone that he can't fire them?
Well, first, I think that would be an even bigger distraction, and I think it would be a big mistake for the president to do that. Let's let Mueller do his work. Let him get to the bottom of it. Let him follow the facts to where they lead. Let's be sure he does it in a fair and objective way. And, let's not continue this conversation about firing the special counsel. I think that would be better for the president. I think it would be better for the country.
A lot of his people say that given the fact that his personal lawyer's office was raided and his home was raided, that this has gone way off kilter and he'd be justified in stopping it, ending it. But your argument, I think, has said in the past, you wouldn't end it, you'd just compound it, right? If you thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should get to the bottom of it quickly, by the way. I think they should finish their work, let the American people know what happened in terms of Russian meddling in the election.
Senator, that this is beyond just looking at Russian collusion?
I can't know, and nor can anybody else, other than the people who are involved. And Mueller is a different sort of prosecutor, in my view, than ones who came before him, including Mr. Comey. And I think he is focused on an objective analysis here. That's been his reputation. He does happen to be someone who has worked for Republican administrations in the past and worked well with them. So I think you got to let him do his work. And let's tell the American people what's going on, too, because I think there's a lot of concern out there that this process may go on too long. Let's come to a conclusion. Let's make a report. I do believe, from what I know from the intelligence agencies, that the Russians did meddle in our election. I do believe we need to find out when they did it, how they did it, what they did, so that we can avoid it in the next election.
You mentioned the Russian involvement here. We had promised after the raid in Syria, Senator, that we were going to slap sanctions on the Russians. We have held back on doing that, and some have cynically said, oh, that's because this president doesn't want to rattle Vladimir Putin, even though, of course, he oversaw the raid on Syria. But what do you make of that? Do you think sanctions are in order now against the Russians?
Yeah, I think they'd be appropriate. I think they could be targeted, and that's what Nikki Haley had talked about over the weekend, was having them focused on arms sales,
right
for
now,
instance, to their
being
region.
held up.
Yeah. But this president has been tougher on Russia, let's face it, in terms of looking at this objectively, than the previous administration. He has put sanctions in place. He has tightened those sanctions. He has allowed the Ukrainians to have lethal weapons to be able to defend themselves, which the Obama administration never did. In Syria, he not just drew the red line, he responded, which made the Russians very upset. He responded to what the UK asked us to do.
So you're not like some of your colleagues who want to have the president run this by Congress if he ever is entertaining another raid of any sort on Syria?
No, I think he had the right to do it under his inherent powers as commander-in-chief, but also under the existing authority to use medical force, AUMF that's in place.
Right.
We need a new one, by the way. The thing is 17 years old. We ought to update it. But I think he was able to do it. I was glad the UK and French jets were part of it, and ships. I think it's important to make this international. I would really hope, Neil, that he would bring in the United Arab Emirates, the Saudis, the Jordanians, the Egyptians, others to join in this coalition, because it shouldn't just be about us and our European partners.
Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention James Comey. He's on a book tour. You might have heard about it. He has said of the president a lot of things, but among them that he's morally unfit to be president. What did you make of that?
I'm not big on kiss and tell books, and for public officials generally, and particularly those in law enforcement. So I haven't read the book, and I've only heard reports of it.
Sounds like you don't intend it.
No, I don't think. I'm not interested in getting distracted by that. Frankly, I'm much more interested in promoting what we're trying to do here. Again, better healthcare policy, energy policy, tax reform. There's lots of things on our plate right now. Infrastructure. Stuff that you and I talk about, and you've been great on your show and focusing on the substance and what's actually happening here that helps the people I represent.
All right, Senator Portman, always good seeing you.
Thanks, Neil.
Thank
Thanks
you
for coming
very much.
Yeah, good to see you.